So we're going to go over some tips today. The last couple of weeks I've been doing some client interview shoots, and during that process I felt some good things that came out of it and some things that I need to improve on, and that's what I'm going to share with you today. So we'll just get right into it. The first tip is that I made sure that I done was to meet with the client. You need to build a very good rapport with the client to make sure that they know exactly what is happening on the day, what to expect, what the questions are going to be, and genuinely really make them feel at ease with you, because there's going to be nothing worse than doing an interview and it feeling completely unnatural and forced. You're not going to get the best results. So it really pays dividends to actually go to the client at the site that you're shooting and really make that work between you. Don't force a friendship, that's not what you're trying to do, but you're really trying to engage with the customer and really make it feel that when you come to the premise on the day of the shoot, it's a welcoming experience rather than a nerving experience. It also gives you the benefit of you get to scope out the actual place that you're shooting at on the day, so you have a much better mindset on the logistics and the type of lighting and everything that you will actually be able to do, as opposed to what you think you can do. So that is the first tip. It is always meet with a client and always make sure that everything is spot on and there's a good relationship. Right, so for the second tip, we are looking at redundancy. Now, whilst being a fantastic person and having fantastic relationship with the client, that can quickly go south if you get home and most of your footage or audio is crapped out. You need to make sure that you have enough redundancy in place to make sure that that client shoot is delivered. So what I've got now and what I've been doing is that I've got two cameras. So even though it's a single cam setup, I'm making sure that the other angle is of a decent angle, which is the GH5. Now that's on a telephoto lens, which is I think about 50mm. And then the G7 is then just doing the wide. Now that means if one of these cameras go down, I've got a backup. In the GH5, that is a dual card slot. So if the SD card in one of those craps out, I've got a backup. So even if I did a dual cam setup, I am going to need to get another G7 just to replace, just to make sure that I can continue with the client shoot without the client having to worry about the data being lost. Now for the audio, I've got a H6, which is the Zoom handy recorder. This is coming in to the boom arm. I'd advise you get a lav mic as well, so that you've got 2 points of audio. Now, if the camera is relatively close, you could also put shotgun mics on each of the cameras. That will also make sure that if the lav and the shotgun, for some unknown reason, the SD card craps out, you can at least use the scratch recording which is on top of the cameras. The other option you've got as well is that on the Zoom, you can do a line out into a small recorder. Now this was being used as a backup, so as it was recording on the H6, it was also recording on this. So this is another backup. So at some point, if something craps out, you've got something to fall back on. It's not going to be the same quality as the systems that you've got, but I'd rather have a better backup than to go back to the client and say, look, is it okay if we can reshoot? Because they might turn around and say, absolutely no. We spent a lot of money doing that first shoot. It might have only cost you, say, $2,000 to do it, but we had to secure resource, the people there. It might have cost them 15 to 20 just to have the people there, because they would normally be doing another job. So redundancy, this is the most important of all of it. Keep yourself redundant. Have enough redundancy. Moving on to tip 3. Right, so the third and final tip is chasing the widest aperture. Now, this is a mistake to make if you are relying on manual focus, because relying on such a wide aperture means that the focus plane is very razor thin. So One eye might be in focus, one might not be. If they stand to the side, if they face on, then the nose might be in focus and the eyes might be soft. It's happened, and it does happen. So you want to make sure that you pick an aperture that allows for the face to be, in focus all the time. If you've got a camera which allows you to do autofocus and you're willing to stake your career on it, use it. The GH5 and the G7 just doesn't have that, so manual focus it is. Plus, if you're a one-person band, you are probably doing the interview yourself, so you're standing off to the side. So you need to make sure that both cameras are set up right. And picking the widest aperture on manual settings is not the right thing to do. Make sure, like today, I've got these set at 2.8, and this is keeping the face at this distance sharp. Now, if I move back, you can see I'm going on to focus. Same if I come in, aren't they beautiful? But if I stay here, that's fine. Now, it's different on the wide lens as opposed to the telephoto. So with the telephoto, you don't have much leeway. With the wide lens, you've got a bit more option. You've got more flexibility. You don't have to worry about that range so much. But with a telephoto, yeah, if you get it wrong, it's going to look soft, and that's why you don't want to do that, which is why tip 2 about redundancy, having different cameras, even on a single shoot, might save your ass, because if one's a little bit soft, you can rely on the other one. So don't chase the widest aperture. Make sure that you pick one that does a range, and we're talking about anything between 8 to 12 inches. Because I did a test at 5.6 using the telephoto on a ruler, and about 8 to 9 inches was roughly in focus. So you have that breathing room for the person. If it's a standing up interview, you've got to be careful, because you're going to have to make sure that the person's in focus all the time and then going back to doing the interview. So be very, very mindful. Don't go chasing the widest aperture. And that is it for today. That is 3 tips that I've learned over the last couple of weeks. They're not massive tips, but they will help save you. When I say save you bacon, but if you're a vegetarian, then it'll cover your ass. Yeah, so thank you. Hope you enjoyed the content. Please give a like, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.